Hi everyone. I thought that it might be useful to provide a little bit of context in regards to the financial changes that Council has made last week in terms of the deferral of the Capital Works program. But before I go through some of the reasons why we did it, I want to provide a little bit of a context. I really want to emphasize that this council is not in a financial crisis and that it is not in a position where we are facing imminent financial unsustainability issues. What I am focusing on and how I'm leading this council has got to do very much with the learnings that I have taken from Central Coast Council, and therefore there is a level of, I guess, allergy, for lack of a better word, in my view, in terms of what sustainability in a council sphere would look like. So if we were to look at many councils that are existing at the moment in their financial positions, if I was leading them, I would be doing the same actions. So what I'm saying by this is that we are not an outlier. We are not a council that is being run significantly worse than any other council. We are just probably benefiting a little bit faster than most from the learnings that have occurred from a council that almost went into a state of bankruptcy, and therefore the learnings that I've taken from that are very close to my heart, and they might not be so anywhere else. So with that context in mind, I am presenting a graph in front of you, and that graph provides the actual capital expenditure that this council has undertaken since 2018. And if you look at the graph, and specifically at the blue bars of the graph, you would see that on average this council's ability to deliver capital expenditure projects is of the volume of $60 million a year. That has been from 2018 to 2022. 2022 is the first year that we have significantly exceeded the $60 million deliverable target because of two additional projects that were delivered outside of Council's direct resourcing pool. We have delivered $41 million for the projects of Wigulga and Yarilla, and Council's base capital expenditure has still been $62 million. In 2023, the proposed budget after the revotes and the carryovers, which are essentially the unexpended funds that occurred in last financial year that need to be carried over into this financial year so that we can complete those projects. The total amount of that book is $166 million. When you compare the fact that Council's ability to deliver with its own resources a capital works program to the tune of $60 million, you would understand that the excess above that $60 million base target is approximately $100 million. $55 million of that is made for the finalization of the Wigulga and Yarilla projects, and I'm aware that there have been comments around, Yarilla might be the only reason why we're in this situation. When we are talking about the orange portion of the excess, which amounts to $55 million, and you see that there is still about $50 million of excess sitting in the blue graph above the yellow line, it will be very clear to understand that Wigulga and Yarilla only contribute to half the problem, and that is what that means is that Council would have needed to make deferral on the CapEx program whether or not Yarilla and Wigulga were on the books. That would have happened anyways, and the main reason for that is that Council has been successful and has been very grateful in being able to secure a large amount of grants, both from the state and federal level. Council, by the way, absolutely needs and relies on those grants. We need it for our ability to further develop our LGA. But in this particular situation, over the past 3 years, if we look at the grants that Council has received from the state and federal level, we have received over $100 million in grants. So that has been a very successful run on Council's part, but at the same time, there is an impact on that grant and the revenue that we receive from those funding bodies. And the impact comes in the form of two things: depreciation and maintenance. And they are ongoing costs, which are not costs that the granting bodies pay for Council on an ongoing annual basis. So even in instances where Council might have received the funding in its entirety to build a project, once that project is built and becomes an asset, then that asset ends up costing an annual amount of depreciation on Council's books, and in some instances it will also add additional maintenance costs. I am aware that many people that run businesses would come and tell me, but Natalia, depreciation is a non-cash item, therefore it doesn't matter. This is correct in the business community. In the private business community, it is incorrect in the local government community. Why? Because depreciation in a council is not a non-cash item. It is the item that is used to fund our capital works program, and the reason why we do that is because while a regular business might have bought a printer and that printer is depreciated at X percentage, whether that's 30% a year or whatever, it doesn't matter for them if they replace the printer in 3 years' time. Their business model might have changed and they might not need to replace the printer. So for them, they might be happy to sustain the non-cash losses and not depreciate the item. For a council, we can't not fix the roads. We can't not do the work that or update the asset or the water and sewer infrastructure that council has. Whatever asset the council has built, we have to be able to renew that, and we have to be able to replace that. And that happens from depreciation money, and that depreciation money has got a direct impact on council's ability to deliver those assets. In terms of where you could access the detailed list of the projects with the identifications of which projects council is deferring and which are not, you can find that publicly available on council's website. You go to council's website and then you go to your council or about council, and then you click on council meetings, and under council meeting minutes and agendas, you could then see as of the date of 30th of August 22, there's the extraordinary council meeting, and if you look at the PDF document, you will see the attachment that clearly identifies the list of all the capital projects and that council is proposing to be undertaking, and that list amounts to the $166 million, and in that list you'd be able to see which projects that council has adopted to seek deferrals for. Thank you.